Hey guys, we're live. I'm Jeff with eBay Addicts, and today my guest is the Reseller Mom. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us today. I'm doing well. Go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience. Tell everybody who you are, where you're from, and tell them what it is that you do.
No worries. My name is Lucy, or Reseller Mom, and I live in the Seattle, Washington area. I've been doing this for six years. I think it was 2015 or something when I started, and I started because I had been laid off. Over a 10-year period, I got laid off about 8 times. I had many companies that would get bought out, sold out, shut down, merge, do a variety of things that would result in needing another job. And the last one just took it out of me. I said, I can't keep starting up, making friends, busting my butt, trying to put 110% to somebody that keeps just sloughing me off. So I said, if I'm going to work that hard, I'm going to do it for myself. And I was missing out a lot on my kids' stuff. I missed a lot of baseball games and childhood things because I was at work. Or movies. Every time I went to go see a movie with my kids, somebody would call, or there'd be drama at work. So it just wasn't worth it anymore. So I've been doing this, and I do 90% Amazon, but I also run a Shopify store, print on demand. I don't do videos kind of on that yet, but that might come. And then I do a little bit of eBay. My eBay account, I think, is from 97 or something. It's old, but I sell any Amazon rejects or anything around the house, or kind of anything that's not Amazon, that can't go on Amazon. So love it. Yeah. Absolutely love it. I've grown from, just selling used books to now I work mostly with wholesalers. I have pallets delivered, and I have 2 employees out in the garage working right now.
Wow, sounds like you're a busy reseller. So yeah, I definitely can relate. I was working a corporate job for 10 years for General Electric, and then they got bought out, and this Chinese company called Harrier bought them out. My whole department got eliminated. So I definitely have been there before. It's hard to climb the corporate ladder when the whole ladder disappears. You're like, oh, I'm here, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, where did the ladder go? There's no corporate ladder anymore. Your whole department's eliminated. So I definitely have been there before. Let me say hello here to a few people in the chat. I wanted to say hey to the Small Town Picker is here in the chat. Wanted to say hey to Stephen Gee is here. Wanted to say hey to Terry Picker Flipper is in the chat. And Small Town Picker says, wow, she's doing great. So we have a question here in the chat. If you guys have questions for our guests, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Terry Picker Flipper says, what industry were you in? So before your company got laid off, what exactly were you doing?
So my degree is in biology. I have a BS in biology with focus in ecology and evolutionary studies. So not reselling at all. I went in, got my first job in the lab at a dairy, and then I moved on to cutting edge research at Weyerhaeuser. And I was there for many years, and then they made some bad investments into the housing market right before 2008. So after that, I worked in a few pharmaceutical places doing environmental testing, lab testing, just different testing. And then I kept getting laid off from there. I went into food, and I was a quality manager. And then after that, I decided to go into the production side, and I was a production manager. So my last job officially was production manager. I had about 150 employees, and we produced food for a lot of the grocery markets around here. So cut up watermelon, diced potatoes, onions, lettuce, little salads. If you go into Trader Joe's and you got the chicken salad, that's one of the salads we made there. So a variety of those things, and then they were sold, and I was let go from there. So same thing, mergers, acquisitions, all of that. I did a little bit at a soup company. That was really fun. And then they got bought by Heinz, and it's just similar. Every time we got bought out, the big company would come in and just pretty much replace any management personnel. And of course, we always got nice packages. They always make it nice for you to leave, but it means that you got to start over. And after this last one, I just said, that's it. They had just put us through the acquisition of Fred Meyer's rollout, 180 new SKUs, this huge rollout. One time I worked about 26 hours straight. So I saw the crew from the next day, like they had gone home, went to bed, and came back, and I was still there. And I'm like, that's it. I'm literally giving my life to these people, and they did, at the end of the day, they don't care.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely have been there before where it's like, oh, it's mandatory Saturday and Sunday, and they don't care if it's your kid's birthday or if you were going to go camping with your family or, like you said, you wanted to go movies with your family. None of that stuff matters. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 number. That's your badge number, and you have to show up to work. And if you don't show up working mandatory Saturdays and mandatory overtime, they have a list of 10,000 other people lined up to replace you. So I definitely have been there before, and I know what it's like when your company gets bought out or mergers or acquisitions, and first thing they want to do is cut costs. So if you started at the bottom and you worked your way up and now you're making 75, 80, 100 grand a year, first thing they want to do is eliminate you and bring somebody in and pay them $12, $13 an hour and expect them to do twice the amount of work and pay them a fourth of what you were making. So I definitely have been there before. I wanted to say hey to LKL Graphics. Heath is in the house, and we had a question here from Cherry Picker Flipper. Says, what issues do you have with Amazon?
I recognize that name. I think I've seen that one before. What problems do we not have with Amazon? It's a daily basis. Currently, this week in the news, they came down and said that coming September 1st, if you do not have insurance and you do $10,000 a month or more in sales, they will be requiring that. So if you are up to that level, make sure you do have your insurance. I'm with Hartford, which is Ashland, whatever. The other company that's big to use there is Next Insurance. So I know that's a pretty hot topic. I've had insurance for a few years with them and have had no issues. Plus, they send my certificate directly to Amazon, so I don't have to worry about it. And the other big issue this month has been toy compliance safety documents. And because I have such a background in research and everything, I understand those problems a little bit more than some of the others. But still, like, I have a dog toy and it's pegged as a child's toy. It's not categorized that way. It's still under dog toys. But for some reason, they think they need child safety compliance documents for it. And I've gone round and round. I've spent over 2 hours on the phone trying to explain this, and I've gotten nowhere. I may as well go talk to the wall. So Amazon can be frustrating in that sense, that sometimes you get these problems, and it's a big system. And if you don't talk to the right part and have the right thing in the system, you just go in circles. So learning that system has been kind of the biggest hurdle and what to do, because there's some things where it's just easier to get off that listing and make a new listing at that point, because you're just talking to the wall. So there is that, and that can be very frustrating, especially if you're starting out. Same with the gating and what you can sell, and brands and IPs are probably the biggest issues over on Amazon. What kind of insurance is that?
Yeah, Keith wants to know what kind of insurance. So do you have to have liability? Explain what the insurance is for, guys. They had a case back in the day where this lady bought this like off-brand dog leash or something, and the leash broke, and part of the leash for the lady walking her dog came back and ricocheted, hit the lady in the face, and I think she ended up losing her eye or something, lost her vision, and so she wanted to go back and sue Amazon and say Amazon was liable for this person losing her eye. And Amazon had to go back and find out where this product came from, who they need to hold accountable. And I think they couldn't. It was one of those fly-by-night people that was imported from China or something, and they couldn't track down where this product came from and who needed to be held accountable for this item. So now they want people to have insurance to cover your butt in case some freak accident, maybe some baby or some kid was chewing a toy that wasn't made to be eatable, and they want to make sure that you have insurance to cover your butt. So do you mind talking about that for a second, since it was brought up in the chat?
No. So just like you said, that happened, and Amazon actually won that case 4 or 5 times before they lost it. And as soon as they lost it, which I want to say was last year, you started seeing these insurance things come down a little bit harder. So I don't have a problem sharing a lot of the nitty gritty of the business, but I'm with Ashland Hayden Insurance, which is Hartford Certificate of Liability Insurance. It covers me up to $1 million for like a claim, products $2 million, and medical $10,000. I do have some extra things in here because I have, it's specific to my business. So yours might be a little bit different on what you need. And I pay $57.59 a month. So it's really not that bad. You call them, They're going to ask you, how much do you sell per year? You know, what's your annual revenue? What does your setup look like? You know, do you want vehicles covered? Do you not want vehicles covered? Do you have a storage unit, warehouse? You know, kind of all those questions. And then they set it up for you. So if you're just starting out, I would expect anywhere from $40-$50 for like a base plan. Mine has a couple things added, so it's 57, but we're not talking about huge dollars here. To me, $57 a month gives me a lot of peace of mind.
Okay, cool. Let me say hello here real quick. We have Edabio says, I'm using Next Insurance and I don't have a problem with them. I wanted to say hey to the Lone Star Picker. He says, frustration, normal to have an average business with model challenges. We have to roll with the punches. Yeah, Lone Star Picker, he's a night owl, man. I saw him on Instagram last night at like 4 a.m. So thanks for coming by and hanging out with us today, Louis. He says, shout out to everybody in the chat. So I wanted to talk about that for a second because actually how I found you, I don't remember if it was on Instagram or YouTube. And you were actually talking about the mind of an entrepreneur. And it was like you showed a picture of someone like laying in bed. And it's like a person that works a regular 9-to-5 job. And at midnight, they were sound asleep. Whereas the entrepreneur was like laying in bed and they had one eye open. And then there was like 5 different like exclamation marks like, oh, did I do this? Did I do this? Did I do this? And I was just like, man, my brain works the exact same way. I'm laying in bed. I'm trying to sleep. It'll be 1 o'clock in the morning. And I'm like, oh, did I ship out that package? Did I upload tracking? Did I do this? Did I do that? And it's just completely different when you are, a regular 9-to-5 person where you clock out, you punch out at 5 o'clock and go home. It's like your brain shuts off. But when you're an entrepreneur, you're constantly evolving. You're constantly thinking, and your brain is constantly think. It's almost like when you leave the house and you're like, oh, did I lock the house up? Did I do that? Did I shut the garage door? Did I forget something at the grocery store? So you talk about that for a second. I just thought it was kind of really interesting.
You are exactly right. And hold on, let me hit the little comment button so I stop looking over there. But you are exactly right. You are with and in this business 24/7. And sometimes my husband goes, we can talk about anything but your work. Okay. We'll talk about other things, but it's a constant, you're thinking about things, and sometimes that can be a downfall because, you need your head to turn off some nights. So things that I have found that are good is I've gone to Trello boards this year. I used to have different documents. I've tried a couple different organizing ways, and Trello boards have seemed to be working where I can kind of dump all my thoughts there. And that really helps clear up my head so that I can enjoy my family time and not let things fall off the table. Because honestly, if it's not in front of me, I forget it. So if it's on my board, I can organize and say, okay, this is what I want to get done today. And you are kind of working whenever you want to work. So it's very good to establish guidelines and, stick to your guidelines for yourself. Like I try to get up and get dressed in the morning and not work in my pajamas because that's part of the mindset. I have my office where if I'm down here working, I'm down here working. So I don't work in bed in my pajamas, that kind of helps draw that invisible line. And then when I'm off, I'm off. And if I need to add something, I just quickly add it to my board and then I can do it in the morning. Of course there's always one-offs, but if you forget to ship out that package instead of running down and like quickly doing it, you can just add it to your board and continue on with your day. Because a lot of times in the evening, we're doing family type things. We're going to the grocery store or, well, with COVID, it hasn't been as family-ish, but you get what I'm saying. And you do have to kind of think of everything. That's one thing that when I see new people starting off with this, nobody's going to tell you what to do. You can do whatever you want, which is great. The problem is you can do whatever you want to do. So nobody's going to tell you to get up and get your butt to work. Nobody's going to tell you how many things to list per day. They're not going to tell you how to handle customers. You don't have that. We have a really good community with the resellers. And so it's great to reach out, and I encourage everybody to make a few friends. So if you have that weird situation or that customer you have to, just vent about a little bit, you have some people to network with. But nobody's going to tell you how to run your business. If you want to ignore customers and just tell them to get bent, then you can. If that's not your business model, then that's not your business model. But you need to define all that for yourself. And some people have a hard time going from being told what to do 24/7 to thinking and doing it all themselves.
Yeah, and it's kind of different. It's almost like when you were in high school, and it's like if just to go to the bathroom, you had to have a hall pass. And then
Mhm.
when you get in college, it's like the professors, they've already been paid their money. So if you don't show up to class or you goof off, you don't do your homework, you don't have someone there to like hold your hand and be like, now, did you turn in your homework assignment? Did you study for this exam? It's all kind of on you. And so it's kind of different. It's almost like when you're working a 9 to 5 job and you have someone to tell you what time to clock in, when your lunch break is, what time you clock out, versus being an entrepreneur. It's like, okay, you're an adult now. It's on you. You need to get those packages shipped out, you got to get them shipped out. So let's say hello real quick to a few people in the chat. Adebayo says, how many hours do you sleep?
7.
7. Okay. I try to get 8 hours. I'm good. As long as I get 8 hours of sleep and I have a nice hot meal and I can take a nice hot shower, I can go. I can go and get handle it. But if I don't, and if I get 5 or 6 hours, I'm a little bit cranky.
Yeah.
Everybody is. We're human. The Lone Star Picker says, question regard mental well-being as a parent/reseller. As we get bogged down, we have to know to keep up the top of our game. I like that you stated mindset. Please mention tips to help people from getting overwhelmed.
So there's a lot of them, and I've watched a lot of videos and kind of cherry picked what I could bring to my life to help me out a lot. So I keep all of my work information sorted out on a Trello board now. I used to use Google Keeps exclusively, but I find the Trello board allows me to add links and pictures and do different projects. So let's say that I'm just sourcing at Target. We'll just say we're online sourcing at Target and we're doing some things, and I may find a few rabbit holes. It's easy to get lost down those rabbit holes. So having the Trello to kind of organize all my work helps me keep my work organized. Now, for the rest of the family, we do a lot of Google Keep lists and stuff. So we've got one that's a family grocery list. Anything that you want from the grocery store, you put it on the grocery list. And when we're at the grocery store, we can get that done. We have a list of like house projects my husband and I want to work on, because sometimes what I think we want to be working on and what he thinks we want to be working on don't match up. The kids each have like birthday lists or Christmas lists. So when somebody asks us what they want, or when they see something they want, they can add it there. So Google Keep helps organize a lot. We have a ton of things like that. When we go out of town, we have like an out of town checklist that's on Google Keep. So when we go out of town, we know exactly what we're supposed to do when. You're not reinventing the wheel every time. For the kiddos and me, everybody uses a shared calendar. So we don't put, like, they know I work from 8 to 4. That's like my work time. So anything, I'm not going to put all my work stuff on that calendar, but outside, everybody's dental appointment, the dog's appointment, games coming up. And, my son just got a job, so we're pretty excited about that. He's put his work schedule on there, so we know when he goes to work now. And like if he wants to go play poker with the boys on Saturday, so he's going to put that on the calendar. So Trello, Google Keep, Google Calendar, or Apple Calendar, whatever the calendar is, I think it's Google Calendar, are probably the biggest ones there. And then when I get off, I'm off. I get off at 4, and then I can go switch out of work mode and enjoy my family time and whatnot.
Yeah, well, that's nice. That's a good thing about being self-employed, is you can go out and do things and spend time with your family. Like you said, go out to, dinner and a movie with your family, go out to dinner, go do things without being on work 24 hours a day. Lone Star Picker says, is a Trello board, he said, is that similar to an accountability board? Go ahead.
So I don't know if you ever worked with Kanban systems back in the industry, but Kanban is where you write down projects and you kind of put it on. Trello board is like that too. It's Trello. It's free, so that's one thing that I love. And it allows you to kind of organize projects and stuff. I know a lot of people that do, like if you take care of a lot of clients and you're doing projects for different clients, it works really well there. Well, I have my Amazon projects. I have bundles that I might be researching, or I need to mail out something or follow up with this product, once it gets recalled. And I keep all of those there. I have like a to-do list of projects in the future. You see something, you're like, oh, that'd be great. And like 6 months down the line, future projects board. I have a board between me and my business partner. We do a lot of bundles together. So we come up each with bundles and then we share those ideas to help each other out. So we have bundles or projects listed together. And then I have a VA that works on my Shopify store. So all the projects that she's working on are mapped out there. So if I tell her I need 10 designs in this theme, like let's say coffee themed t-shirt designs, she can go in there and work on them and know, it's our communication board for that. But they have a lot of different uses. And really, let me tell you, when you start, it's like pretty small. You're like, oh, I'm just going to send in some stuff. This is pretty easy. Well, now I'm sending in 3,000 items every month or more, and it can get confusing. You may get an email about something. You're like, oh, I need to fix that listing. 2 days goes by and it may fall out of your head. So at least it's now on my board and I can keep up with it.
Yeah, guys, if you factor in 3,000 items a month, that's like 100 items a day. I mean, if you divide it by 30 days, it's a lot. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about Amazon. How long have you been selling now on Amazon?
Since 2015, so 6 years.
Okay, now you said you have 2 employees and you have a warehouse now, because
no warehouse yet. I'm looking for one.
You're looking for one. Okay, now I think Amazon is a little bit easier to scale and grow a business as opposed to eBay. So since you've been on Amazon and you're able to kind of grow and scale your business, do you mind sharing with our audience a little bit of numbers, like what your numbers were last year for 2020, or what you guys gross in a month? I'm just trying to give people maybe a little bit of inspiration or motivation to kind of get started if they're kind of on the fence, like, well, I don't know if this is for me. I would say majority of my audience is eBay sellers.
So my revenue last year was $243,000. My profit line fluctuates between 8 and 15% of that. I do pay myself a flat weekly paycheck and the rest gets invested back into the business and everything. And that's what works for my family. I asked my husband, I said, would it be better to have a fluctuating paycheck? Like when December's here, it's going to be really good, but then we have some lean months, And he's like, I'd rather have a steady, like, I know you're going to contribute X amount towards the family every week. So that's how my business on the accounting is set up. I use the profit first system for the most part. And I did bring on a CPA this last year who has been very helpful, very much worth it. As I've grown, I got to that point where I just needed some help with the books and whatnot. For growth, I started out, and I think my first year I did 20 or 30,000 total in sales. So going from, we'll say 30,000 in sales to 300 or 243 is pretty good. Actually, I'm going to have to pull my numbers because I can't remember them all. This year, we are aiming to hit 500,000. So I keep everything lined up. It's, what do you call it? I keep all my stats and all my numbers. Amazon's great if you love numbers and spreadsheets and all of that good stuff. So let's see here. Last year, 324,000 in sales. This year, I'm at 227,000 in sales. And over total on Amazon, I've done over $1 million in sales. So most of that was in the last couple of years. And this year, I'm probably going to hit 500,000. With scaling, there's different ways to do it. With Amazon, you usually go more towards either higher dollar items, quantity, wholesale, employees, third-party systems. The way I've seen eBay people scale is just to hire people to do the listing part. They still want to do the sourcing part, or they go and they get liquidation lots, which I don't know if we want to talk about eBay or liquidation lots this week with all the drama that's gone on there.
Well, we got time. We got a question here from Cherry Picker Flipper. It says, where do you source most from, and what do you sell the most of? Do you sell a lot of books on Amazon? So
I hardly sell any books on Amazon now. I started off with all books, all used books, because that's the cheapest way to get in. You can have friends donate. You can put out a looking for books on Craigslist. You can go to garage sales and say, I will buy all your books at the end of your garage sale for $5 or make some sort of deal. And you'll get some good ones out of that. But it's a good way to learn the ropes, learn how to package, learn how to get them shipped in. They don't break a lot. You don't have a lot of IP claims. It's a very good product to get in at the bottom level for low capital. What do I sell the most of? Holy smokes. I sell a lot of toys. I sell a lot of dog products. I sell a lot of health and beauty products and some quite a bit of grocery items. For clothing, I do sell quite a bit of clothing. If I'm doing retail arbitrage, like if I want to go to a store and just find product, my go-to is going to be like Burlington or Kohl's and get some pants or bras. I'm not doing that too much these days, just time-wise. I don't have time. I usually am ordering and having delivered, and I'm going more wholesale, and I'm trying to get more pallets of stuff. Because honestly, once you get a rhythm and you get packing up something, whether you pack up 10 or 100, your time consumption is changing over to the next project, right? It is in every industry, is changing gears and doing something different. Whether you're working on lists or working on anything, that changeover time is always the time sink. So eliminating those. You probably do the same thing. I'm going to, do you batch all your items? You list everything, then you photograph everything, and then you finish up your drafts and push it live? Or do you do each item start to finish?
Well, I try to do like items. So let's say if I'm listing DVDs or Blu-rays or video games, maybe I'll do stacks of 10, and then maybe I'll do like 10 stacks of 10, and then I'll kind of batch them out and say, okay, I did, a stack of 10. Maybe I'll get up, take a break, come back, list 10 more items. But I try to list like items. So if I have hats, then I'm listing hats. If I have shoes, I'm listing shoes, because it's much easier for your brain as opposed to me just saying, oh, well, I listed a VHS tape. Now I listed a pair of shoes. Now I listed a hat. And it's like your brain is constantly switching from one item to the next. But if I'm just getting into a rhythm and I'm just like, okay, I took a photo front and back, boom, that's uploaded. Let's go to the next one. And you can crank out more listings that way if you kind of batch it out as opposed to jumping around. But I wanted to ask you a little bit about how your business model works. You said that you have pallets of merchandise. Is this like customer returns? Is it shelf full merchandise? Is it wholesale orders? Kind of elaborate a little bit, because if they're not on Amazon, maybe we speak a different language. So explain how your business model works as far as you getting pallets of merchandise. Do you break these pallets down and then you bundle the items, or how exactly does it work?
I do a few different things. With my partner, we're working on bundling things up. And I'll just use some generic examples because I don't want to give away our information. But one of the common ones you'll see on Amazon is, we'll say party supplies. And we'll say unicorn plates. Unicorns are pretty hot right now. So people will go to their wholesalers and they'll get unicorn plates, unicorn cups, unicorn napkins, and they piece it together as a bundle. So with her, I do a lot of those. And then with that, it's great because you're the only ones on the listing. The downfall is you've got to get it ranked. So we need to do some advertising. We need to really do the research. The research goes into at the front end, because you're trying to make sure you're getting a product that people are going to want, and you're grouping it in a way that people are going to want. So, if unicorn plates are hot, great. How many sellers are selling unicorn plate items? Are you competing against 10 different listings or 100 different listings? So you kind of got to do a lot of research on the beginning for those. For just my regular items that my bread and butter, it's going to be wholesale items. So we'll say a bottle of lotion. If I can get it from the wholesaler for $2, I put 2 of them together. The listing is for, two bottles of lotion. My cost of goods is $4. I'm going to price it at, we'll say $14. And my gals get, cases of the lotion in. They're going to take 2 bottles, wrap it up according to standards, put it together, put it in the box, repackage, and it goes out to Amazon. And I do that for a lot of different products, and they're all eclectic. It's all over the place. The things that sell are ones like eBay, stuff that you're like, oh, nobody's going to buy this. That's the first stuff to sell. It's kind of crazy like that.
Yeah.
And then when you're doing retail arbitrage, that's great, but those are all one-offs. You're not going to be able to do that. So on my videos on my YouTube channel, that's usually what I'm showing is the one-offs. When I can go into Burlington, find 20 bras to sell. The cost of goods is like $4 or $5, selling them for $20, $25. And you take off the tags, you get them spruced up, put them into a bag, and then ship those off to Amazon. But you're never going to go in and find the same stuff. Burlington is always going to have different items out there. Ross, TJ Maxx, Target, and Walgreens can have replens. So I do have some standard items there that I know I can go in and get. Like I need to go to Trader Joe's. Trader Joe's is great. If you haven't sourced at Trader Joe's, it's awesome because nothing is by barcode. You have to look everything up. So competition is really down. They've got some really interesting food products at Trader Joe's. Those are usually the ones I go to, the weird flavors, the weird combinations, definitely seasonal items and like specific to your area. In the Northwest, we have some Northwest specific type of items they carry. So going in and finding those items, grouping them up, and then selling them. Usually food items get bundled up in a 2-pack or a 3-pack. Nobody wants to buy one jar of spice. You got to group it up to a couple of things together. But yeah, it's kind of, I like to go wide and not deep. You know, I'm not going to go buy a whole trailer from China that has 8 million toy games in it and get stuck if that item tanks. When I'm testing out an item, I'll get between 3 and 10 of it. So let's say I go into Trader Joe's and let's say they have a salsa there. I will see that, okay, that salsa is selling. I'm going to try out 5, buy 5 of them, go through the packaging, get used to how we're going to package it to not break or spill or whatever. Send them in, see how long it takes to sell. And then if they perform good, I'm going to go back and they get on my restock list. So I have the restock list for a lot of stores.
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounds like the way to go is to look for a replenishable item. Do you find one, you say, this is a good item, and then you can just, press a button basically, and you reorder that same merchandise over and over and over again, regardless of whatever it is, whether it's, a consumable like toothpaste or something, or deodorant or lotion, like you said, you would find an item that would be a good selling item. Then you would, once you got it in the system, and you could be able to reorder that item again and again and again, right?
Exactly. That's where I'm at now. So between all my reordering, I'm spending about 12 grand a month in just products. So that means every week I'm spending about 3 grand a week buying various products. And some of them are replens. Some of them I do new product, test buys. You always got to be testing and, trying out new things, because your replens, they'll fail. Eventually the market gets flooded or the price tanks or something happens with the product, or, just like take movies, for example. Back in the day, you could sell frozen items all day long. And then it was Frozen 2. And now what's the hot movie this year? I don't know if Suicide Squad or, boy, I'm trying to think what was last year. It was Mulan. So some of the Mulan stuff sold, and then the dragons, but like Trolls is pretty out. I haven't really sourced any troll items recently.
All right. Let me say hello to a few people in the chat. I'm not ignoring you guys in the chat. If you have questions, you could drop it in drop it in the chat for our guests. I wanted to say hello to Kyle is here. Wanted to say hey to BK from the Rockies is here in the chat. The Lone Star Picker is here. Cherry Picker Flipper says, are you on Amazon sells FBA? And if so, what do you do with an item what doesn't sell quickly?
So I have a process for all of my items. When I first add an item to my Amazon bucket of FBA items, I have Be Cool Repricer, and that Be Cool Repricer is set up with a minimum to make me 30% ROI to whatever the maximum is. It's like my price plus shipping plus 50% or something. And I set that repricer to be fairly competitive, but not like rock bottom yet, right? So my bottom is 30%. I will test that out for about 2 months. And after 2 months, I'm going to drop that to 20%. Then I'm going to drop it to 10%. Then I'm going to drop it to, I think 2% is usually my bottom, just so I'm covering any shipping costs or packaging materials. And it's going to, once it goes to that 2%, it's going to go on my more aggressive repricer. Now, I just switched over last week to their AI repricer, which I don't know if robots are going to take over the world or not, but it's kind of a little scary at how smart these robots are. And I have noticed I've increased my buy box percentage by 6% by going to their AI just in the last week. So that's good. That's for any new item and any item I'm testing. So when I go and look at my target replens, if I notice things aren't moving, I haven't made a sale in a couple of weeks, it's going to get, hit to the bottom, get priced aggressively, get out, and then I delete that replen, and I'm not going to revisit that. I do keep it on another log sheet. So maybe in 6 months, it might be worth revisiting again, or maybe it's seasonal and I want to revisit again. But that's how I get rid of products like that. If it gets to the just the really bottom of the bottom, we'll take my daughter's books, for example. My daughter finished school and she had some books that the school didn't want back. So I sent them into Amazon to sell because why not? It's money. And a couple of her books didn't sell. So I did try the liquidation center out from Amazon. You can now liquidate it instead of returning it to yourself. And I think I got 68 cents. Woo. So their liquidation program is not very profitable, but I didn't pay to dispose of it. If it's an item that maybe a customer has damaged or whatnot, that comes back to me and then I sell it over on eBay. So that's my eBay store, is my Amazon reject store.
Okay, cool. Now, we talked a little bit about, about how your business model works. Can you kind of explain to people in the audience that they haven't got started on Amazon, why they should get started on Amazon, and how if you could give them maybe tips or tricks to help them get started? If they're like, hey, I hear you. I heard that, you're on pace to make, 500,000 this year on Amazon and gross sales. I'm interested. What do I need to do to get started, and why do I need to get started on Amazon? I mean, I think it's important to diversify your streams of income, because like right now, everybody's talking about, oh, the summer slowdown on eBay, like it's Armageddon is coming or something, and I'm not making any sales. Well, sales may be slow on eBay and Amazon may be booming. We were talking before the stream is I could sell an item for $20 on eBay and I might have a little bit of a higher profit margin, whereas you may have a lower profit margin selling that same $20 item, but you're selling a lot more of them. They're flying out the door. You may outsell me 10-1 for the same item because there's more users on the platform. So can you talk about that a little bit?
So pros and cons to each. I also believe in diversifying. So I always want to keep up on the eBay stuff, because with Amazon at any moment, they could shut your account down for whatever various reason. Could be a glitch in the system, or you didn't fill out something right, or whatever. It's happened before. So I want to be able to switch my business model at the blink of an eye. And that happened with COVID. They stopped taking FBA items. So I had never done merchant fulfilled items. And to date, I've done over 1,000 merchant fulfilled items now. So I had to, at the drop of a hat, switch. I mean, I woke up and they said no more FBA items. And I went, that's it. We're going to sell Easter chocolates and we're going to sell them out of the house. And this became an Easter factory in like 24 hours. That was it. I went out, got me some boxes and flipped gears. And you have to do that. It doesn't matter if you're selling eBay or Amazon or Mercari or whatever. You need to be able to switch those gears and understand each platform. So Amazon has some great things. One, I don't deal with the idiots. I'm sorry. There's some idiots over on eBay. I have seen them. There's some people that really try to get like free stuff from you over on eBay, or spam, or just are difficult customers. And I don't have to deal with most of them on Amazon if I'm doing FBA. If I'm doing FBM, they're there, but not as prevalent as eBay people. Not to say that all eBay customers are bad. It's really, in the grand scheme of things, they're not that bad, but not having to answer those is great. Not being tied to your deliveries, because I'm going to ASD. So if you're going to ASD, definitely look me up, shoot me a message on Instagram so we can meet up. We're going to plan some sort of meetup, maybe, I don't know, someday. And when I go, things run. I don't have to worry about customer questions or getting orders out or putting my store on vacation. It just works. So that is really nice. We've all woken up days, and part of the great thing about running your own business is if I want to wake up in the morning and go fishing, I can go fishing and I'm okay. I'm not tied down per se. Let's see here. So Amazon platform has way more customers and a lot more sales, but also a lot more competition. So on very fast selling items, even with books, you may be competing against 50, 60, 80, 300 people on used books for that item, but you also have way more customers over there too. People trust Amazon, so they're more willing to buy because of their great return policy and how well they take care of their customers, their customer service. So, it's just a different beast. Some people love eBay and love that profit margin. And let me tell you, it does sound good some days, because my profit per item is much lower than probably yours is. Mine ranges around $4 an item is my average profit per item.
Right. But like I said, you might sell $4 profit margin per item, But if you sold 10 of them that day, you made $40 profit, whereas I may have sold one item for $20 that maybe I paid 50 cents for. And maybe after fees and all that, I've got, $15 profit or whatever for that one item. Whereas you may have sold, 10 times as many items that day I did because there's so many more users on the platform. So, but yeah, so what kind of profit margins do you usually do? If you're out somewhere, and because you don't probably go to as many thrift stores as we do as Amazon seller or as eBay sellers, but like what kind of profit margins do you typically look for when you're at somewhere? Let's say you're doing retail arbitrage and you're looking at an item and you're trying to decide, do I want to pick this up to ship into Amazon? What kind of profit margins do you typically look for?
So I have a couple different ones in my head just based on what I'm sourcing. So let's take the grocery store, for example, first. Grocery items are usually going to be lower dollar amounts. You're typically not going to have a grocery item over $30 unless if it's like a smoked salmon or something really high end. So, we're talking pretzels between $10 and $20. I am looking to at least get 50% ROI on a grocery item, and I'm looking for a replenishable type of item that I can move 10 to 20 at least per month. So I'm going to look at that flavor. I'm going to, let's take Pringles. Pringles has a bunch of different flavors. Doritos sometimes comes out with weird flavors, pickles, or I don't know, just weird flavors they have. And those can be really fun to get and source and do. So I'm going to see what my buy cost is. And let's say it's $5. I'm going to want to make at least $2.50 off of that sale profit wise. That's after a box, after a bag, all of that good stuff. I want to make up $2.50. If I am sourcing bras, I would like to make at least 30% ROI, and I want to make at least $3 per clothing item just because I'm going to have my ladies pack it up, and clothing takes a little bit of finesse to, it takes a little time to package up and make look pretty for your customer. If I'm just doing a turn and burn, let's say a bag, we'll just say like a box of Kleenex. I'm going to sell a box of Kleenex and I could label these. I don't have to do anything. There's no polybagging. There's nothing. I just slap a label on and go. Then, 30% ROI, and I don't care what the profit is as long as it's, profitable. And that's where you can get into some dollar store stuff. So if you're just starting off, I would suggest getting used books and testing some products out at the dollar store. You can buy $5 worth of stuff. You may only make $3 profit off of it, but it will get you through that. Okay, how do I do a bag of candy for Halloween? What do I do? Like if you're just starting out, you've got to do your learning somewhere, and going through a couple of those items, the dollar store is great to learn on.
Yeah, I source a lot at the Dollar Tree, so to resell on eBay. So yeah, you can definitely find items that you can resell if you're just out looking for it. So I had a question for you: what would be a couple of things that I needed to do if I wanted to get started on Amazon? What would be 3 or 4 or 5 things of my little checklist of things that I need to do? Because the first thing that I always hear from people when I talk about Amazon, they're like, "Hey Jeff, I want to get started on Amazon, but I'm gated in everything." Like, there's all these categories that are just like, they get excited because they take their phone, they go out, they start scanning barcodes, and then they come across some items that are profitable. But it's like, hey, I went to Walmart clearance section, I'm looking at these items, but I'm gated in all these categories. What do I do? So can you drop some knowledge to kind of help them jumpstart their business?
So, like I stated earlier, books, you're not going to find a whole lot of gating in books. There is a few, just because there's some authors out there, especially like back to school learning, because COVID and the learning material is got a few gatings on it. But used books is probably the best thing. Go scan around your house and see what you should be aiming for and what you shouldn't. Office products, school products, great this time of year because there's not a lot of gating around there. I hate hearing new sellers and they just want to start off selling Nike tennis shoes and that's all they want to do. And it's like, no, you're not going to start selling Nike tennis shoes. That's like, you got to get your learning curve out of the way here. So the Dollar Tree items are another one where you're not going to find a lot of gating there. You're going to find some good stuff that you can sell. Frontier Co-op, you can get ungated in like 10 minutes with Frontier Co-ops. They're 99 cents, cinnamon. You buy 10 of them, set up the wholesale account. You can get ungated for grocery. Really easy to do. It's going to cost you $10 plus shipping. That is one gating that would be really easy to get ungated for. As you are going through and scanning and you do come across those items you're gated, go ahead and apply. Every week, re-hit that apply button. If you just hit control and hit the apply, it will open up in another tab and you will start to get unlocked with things. And the more you do, the more you're going to get unlocked for. So if you're just starting out, do it maybe weekly, monthly. And then once you start getting some under your belt, then you can do it maybe monthly or quarterly or every 6 months. I do it twice a year now for just my account to get open to things. And I eventually got naturally ungated for quite a few brands. You know, you're going to want to just source where when you go into the store, if you just sit there trying to scan Nikes all day long, you're going to get frustrated. So stop doing that. Like, go to the office store and scan office product, but you know you're not going to run into a whole lot of gating. When you're at Burlington, you can go after Olga, Warner's, some of the Hanes. There's the one, Maidenform bras. Those are all not gated brands. Those are all brands that I try to feature when I'm out scanning, because you could do those as a brand new seller. So you sell, let me tell you, if you sell 300 bras, they're going to start thinking about ungating you for the better brands, because you're showing Amazon that you know how to ship in clothes and you have good customer feedback, and that's going to open you up for the other brands. Now, I have talked before, and this has been a kind of a hot topic the last 2 months, is East Bay. Eastbay.com does allow for buying Under Armour, Adidas, and Nike to get ungated for, but there's been some kickback with certain invoices not going through on Amazon. So it's hit or miss. Some people have bought it and had no problem getting ungated with Nike using Eastbay. Some have said, you know, the invoice didn't work. What do I do? Well, you always set up yourself to be able to sell it on eBay, really. You know, anytime you're buying something on Amazon, have your backup plan. If you can't sell it on Amazon, where are you going to sell it at? Can you return it? Can you sell it on eBay?
Right. Now, can you give us some tips or tricks or advice for growing and scaling your Amazon business? So, because it's not, you don't go overnight from zero to $500,000 a year in sales on Amazon. Because you see these people that are like the ads on YouTube, and they're like, "Hey, buy my course, and you're going to make $1 million a year on Amazon if you just pay $19.99, or buy my course." So, do you have any tips or tricks or advice to help grow and scale your business? Because earlier you talked about how you do $3,000 sometimes in a week, purchasing inventory to resell on Amazon. So how does someone go? Because it sounds like the key is reinvesting your capital, but how does someone grow to scaling their business?
So everybody's kind of got a little bit different, has done a little bit different. That's been unique to them. But in general, you're going to just keep adding more every week and then optimizing your items every, as you grow, you're going to learn what to go after and what to stay away from. So there's been items from the Dollar Tree that were great. I learned how to do some grocery items for them. I learned how to do multi-packs. I learned how to do the expiration dates. But at the end of the day, I was making, we'll just say 75 cents off of that dollar item. And is that where you want to spend your time? No, I'd rather go spend my time on something that's going to make me $5 an item versus, the dollar store item. So the dollar store items are great to learn on. They do have some replens that are really quick that I do keep in my, in stock and whatnot, but I'm going to go after higher dollar items and then just sheer quantity. And I got to the point where I was packing so much at home. I had it down, I'd come down, I'd start packing. I'd maybe pack while watching TV at night if I had some extra things that needed to get out. And I got to the point where I just couldn't run my business and work in my business efficiently. And it was time to bring on help. So started out with having my son help me out and my daughter, hey, you want to make $5? You want to make $10? You want to come down and put stickers on all these things for me? And that worked great. And then I moved on to hiring my first employee last August, and she was awesome. I could sit here and say, see these 50 toys? Here's the labels for them, line up all the labels for them. Here's how you package them. And she'd just sit there and package them up. So let's see here. I know some people that send their items to a third party or have the items sent right to their packer's house. So you could do that. You could have hired help. Mine are contractors on W-9 forms. So, it's just contract work. I pay them out at the end of the week with a check, business check. And it got to the summer, and I told my one packer, I'm like, I'm thinking we need another packer, especially going into Q4. I switched to merchant fulfilled right around November, and that gets crazy here at the house, merchant fulfilling toys during Q4. It's fun, but it's crazy. And she's like, oh, my friend's looking for a job. So I'm like, bring her on. COVID has added a whole new level of, I'm not going to curse on your site here, but it's added.
Thank you. We try to keep it PG-13 here, but thank you. So
I know,
go
I'm
ahead.
trying to think of a good word on how COVID affected everything. It's just not
right.
Been crazy. So yeah, you have to roll with the punches and grow how you feel you want to grow. I tried out a storage shed, and that just didn't work for me. It was just too much to drive down there. The door didn't work. There was just some logistical issues with it, and I hated it. At the end of the day, I was like, I hate that. But now I'm looking at a warehouse for next year. The idea is to get into a warehouse and bring on more packers. So that's how I want to scale my business.
It sounds like you're doing awesome. So go ahead and talk a little bit about your YouTube channel that you have. And so tell people what kind of content you make on there so they go by and check you out. I have all your links in the description down below.
So my YouTube channel is called Reseller Mom, and you can find me on Instagram at Reseller Mom. If you want to email me, it's resellingmom@gmail.com. So if you have kind of a, I'll get a lot of private messages that are, sometimes it's hard to ask in a group forum. You don't want to be called dumb or like, hey, what are you thinking or whatnot. So if you do have a message that you're not comfortable with, you can go ahead and email me. And on my YouTube show, I try to cover specific things to Amazon, such as how to package up liquids. I go over my sales. I do haul videos. So I did like what sold in July, and you can see what sold, and I put up exactly what I bought it, where I bought it from, what my profit was, etc. And then, just pretty much all things business and Amazon related.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Yeah, I'm a subscriber of your channel, and you just recently hit 6,000 subscribers. So congratulations to you, because YouTube can be a grind sometimes. So I want to say hello here to a few people in the chat. BK from the Rockies says hit the like button. I wanted to say hey to Jen's Closet Gems. Wanted to say hey to Nakoma Find is in the chat. And Mike is here. He said, good show. Thanks to both of you. Hey, thank you guys for coming on and hanging out. And I wanted to say hey to Kelly Reseller Louise. And I saw the Lone Star Picker here in the chat. So, yeah, guys, I have all of her links for her YouTube and Instagram. You go by and follow her in the description below and go by and check her out. So you have any other, because we've been streaming for almost an hour. I greatly appreciate you coming on and talking Amazon with us today. Do you have any final thoughts that you would like to leave us with?
No, I mean, it's just, it can be a lonely world out there being an entrepreneur and kind of working and getting stuck in the trenches here. So definitely, shout out to you, to anybody else out there, and don't forget to network so that you have some friends. We're your friends in here. We all do this to help each other out, right? I mean, why else run this YouTube channel and be part of the community to help each other out and to grow? This is not something that we need to compete against at all. We are all here to help each other out to succeed.
Yeah, for sure, guys. I would just leave you with this. Just remember to go out and have a life outside of reselling. It's great. Some resellers, they trade in one job for a new job of working for themselves. And then you want to get out and have a life. Like I went out over the weekend and I just wanted to go and hang out with my sister's 2 kids, her nephews, and take them out to the park or go for a walk on the beach, because you just get so bogged down with working and so caught up with, I need to get these items listed. I need to prep, I need to pack, I need to ship. And you forget about just living your life and going out and enjoying life. So if you get some time to try to go out and do that, and try to make time, especially, man, these kids, they grow up fast. They're one of my nephews, he's getting ready to go in middle school. And I was like, what? Middle school? He's not old enough for that. And time just flies by too quickly. So if you get a chance to reach out to your friends or family members, don't forget to spend time with the people that you care about, because before you know it, time will come and go. And like I said, they'll be in middle school and they'll be in high school and they won't want to hang out with Uncle Jeff. They're going to be like, no, I'm hanging out with my friends. We're going to the arcade or we're going to the movies. We can't hang out with you anymore, Uncle Jeff. You know, I'm too cool for that. So be sure to do that, guys. Anyways, I will catch you guys tomorrow afternoon. I have the Thrift Shop Hustler. He'll be on tomorrow at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you guys want to come by and hang out with us, we're going to talk about all things reselling with the Thrift Shop Hustler. So till then, you guys have a great one. I'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
Hey, you're welcome.